Hey everybody, it's Andy. It's Thursday. We're live, which means you're at my live office hours where I help you build a career you love every week, Thursday, noon Eastern, on my YouTube channel. Great to have you. And today we're talking all about your questions. So it's going to be an entire Q&A. I see I've been chitty-chatting in here with a few of you. Get in the chat. Say hello. Tell me where you're from. Tell me what you need. And if you have any questions, just put a question mark in front of the question so I could find it, because I know a lot of you like to kibitz with each other, and I love it. That's what the community is all about. I've got a couple, really quick announcements just in getting ready for some things that are coming up tomorrow, this weekend. So I'm going to fill you in on that. Then we'll go right into the questions. First thing I want to mention, a little service announcement. I know a lot of you are on or registered for my resume writing class, which is tomorrow at noon Eastern. I am very, very excited. This is the bonus workbook, but I want to let you know we had an overwhelming response. I thought it was going to be a hit. I tried to put something together that I thought was going to be absolutely amazing, and it is. The number of people who registered was well beyond any number I could have ever imagined. So I know I originally was going to limit to 100 attendees, but based on the number of people that actually signed up, I knew we were going to have a lot of disappointed people. So I did add a number of seats, a few hundred more, so that people could participate in this. But even so, it's still a limited seat engagement. So I want to call your attention to make sure that tomorrow morning, we're going to send an email early in the morning, my time, Central Time. I think it's around 6 o'clock. We'll probably send it in the morning to get you instructions, to get your access code, to print out your workbook, to make sure you have the application that you're going to need to run the session, all that good stuff. We'll send it early, and then we're going to give you a 1 hour heads up when the waiting room opens. The waiting room's going to open at 10 Central or 11 Eastern, where you can get into the session. I suggest you get in as early as possible, because if you're not one of the first in, you might go into the waiting room and stay in the waiting room. So I just want to call your attention that it's going to be absolutely amazing, and I would block out at least a few hours for it, because the instruction is deep, and I'm going to do a lot of Q&A and all that other good stuff. The other thing is, if you haven't gotten Interview Intervention yet, it is still available anywhere in the world. I will ship it to you. This actual book is $29. I'll ship it to you. I will also give you the ebook and the audiobook and another $27 ebook called How to Interview the Employer, 75 Great Questions to Ask Before You Take Any Job. All of that is free. The only thing I ask is you pay $7 shipping and handling anywhere in the world to actually receive the book, so we can pick, pack, and ship it. So if you haven't gotten that, get that. That link is in the description. Kara could also add it to the chat. But let's go to the chat. Let's take the questions. I'm super, super stoked about this. I'm having a ball. I love helping you guys. You know that. So let's see. Where are we at? And I know last time I accidentally missed some folks in the top of the chat because I was having a chat issue on my end. So my apologies if I didn't get to your question last week and you were one of the first in. Okay, I think, Carrie, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I got a 10:16 a.m. entry from Kuten Mash. I don't know if I said that correctly. Asked, my wife, a biomedical engineer, did PG diploma, level 8. I'm not sure. I'm wondering if that is, I don't know what that is. She finished her course with merit. Can you please tell us possibilities for a job in the biomedical engineering field in New Zealand? I wish I could. I have no idea. I honestly have no idea, and I would never fib with you guys to tell you something that I wasn't intimately familiar with. I wish I had, more insight, but I'm not even sure what to tell you, because I'm not entirely familiar with the New Zealand market. So my apologies that we come right out of the chute and I'm not able to answer somebody's question, and I can't remember the last time I was blanked like that. But I have to be honest with you, I'm not sure. Hey, Leah, good to see you. I did get your email, and I see you're on the straight and narrow. Glad you figured that out. Hi, Ree. How are you? From Texas. Everything's big in Texas. Vikesh, how are you? From India. Great to have you. Phil from Canada. Great to have you. Connie Cotter from Wisconsin. Great talking to you the other day. Connie's got a question. Seeking suggestions, identifying target companies. I'm open to new industries. What should I look for as I search? Okay, so Connie is a boot camper, and in the boot camp, we have a session up front that talks about generating your requirements, your needs, and the things that go over well with you that you need to support a successful career and a happy career for yourself. Not everybody has access to that, but if you don't have access to that, I have a job search master class. That link also ought to be in the description. And the first session of the free job search masterclass will also cover some things that I'm going to allude to. So Connie, for you as a boot camper, session 1, the starting section where you identify your needs and your requirements. And for everybody else who doesn't have access to that, go to the Job Search Masterclass and you will get a level of instruction on that. But basically, once you identify your requirements, that's the first step. Because before you start looking at target industries and target companies, you want to make sure that you know what it is that you need to make you happy and that you can evaluate it when you surface it. So even before you start targeting things, what is it that I need to make me happy? I would use the list that you generated there to think about whether it's industries or positions that would match up with that. So it isn't like I have to target certain. So as an example, and I know that you have business analysis skills, project management skills, and so on. And this is a great example even for anybody who's not a PM or a BA or aspires to be a product manager. The fact that what it is that you do is universal across a lot of different industries, meaning it doesn't matter if it's healthcare, financial services, insurance, manufacturing, or whatever. All of those industries and all the companies within those industries in one form or another need people that perform your specific function, a BA, PM, and so forth. Same kind of thing goes for whether you're a technologist or a salesperson and so on. So I don't say, well, you should go start looking at these industries. I think you need to look at, are those industries interesting to you? So does the subject matter align up with your needs, whether it's to learn new things, to be challenged, whether you find an industry interesting? Some people love the financial services industry. Some people hate it. Some people love manufacturing. Some people hate it. They're indifferent. Automotive, energy, whatever it might be. So I don't know that you necessarily need to even limit the different industries. If you're indifferent about the industries, put them on your list. Put companies that are in that industry on your list. If you favor certain industries over others, then I would just rank them higher and I would search for those areas first. So it's not really about, what I would say is if you have a preference and there's industries that are interesting to you, I would target them higher. That's it. But where you are, the other thing too is play to the odds. Where you live in Wisconsin, is there a predominance of particular types of companies? Some people live in cities that have a number of hospitals. Some people are in more rural areas. Some people are in areas where there's more manufacturing. Some people are in the Milwaukee area where there's a variety. So it depends, based on where you live. But for anybody, what I would always say, and Connie, that's a great question, always start with your target company list. So I always want you to search on your target companies. And if you have not seen it, I did a live office hours earlier this year on the steps that you need to take, how to actually develop your target company list for your job search. I think that's the exact title, in fact. So just look in the live office hours playlist on my YouTube channel, and you should find a lot more instruction on the 12 steps I recommend to actually generate that list. And that's free, so anybody can get at that. So I hope that helps, Connie. Hope that helps. All right, Pansy, how are you? All right, Julian Hernandez, how are you? I was recently laid off. Question, how do I address this on my resume, cover letter, and a job interview? Thank you, Julian. Julian, that's a great question. I actually, although this does you no good right now, but I'm going to answer you since I got to your question. I'm going to start to do some videos on how to handle these gnarly situations, employment gaps, got let go, got fired, and you want to handle them differently. Now, just clinically, on the resume, you can put, 2000 and whatever you started, 2010, 2012, whatever it was where you originally started at your organization, dash, and then 2017. That's how you handle it on the resume. You do not need to address it in the cover letter if you don't want to. I wouldn't. And in the job interview, you do need to explain, and likely in the screen with the recruiter, you do need to explain that you are no longer working at your organization. The things I will always tell you in general about any responses you're going to give in any job interview or anywhere on your resume or anything like that is I always want you to be honest. It's better to be honest and have a great explanation than to have the employer, potential employer, surface this and then ask you, and they would have expected you to tell them that. So depending on why you were laid off, if the best, there's nothing good about getting laid off, but the best response in if you are laid off is if you were part of a RIF, which is a reduction in force, RIF, where your company let go a number of people at once. Then that's a much easier explanation. I was part of a group that got let go. The company decided that we were going to, piece off this or sell this component or whatever it was. But the thing that I always tell people to include in those situations is a very positive remark about the company, meaning, and you know what? I totally understand why the company did this. It was a smart decision on their part, something of that nature. And for me, it afforded me an opportunity to go out and look for something and be even happier or find something that's an even better match for me or something like that. I assure you, if you can articulate it that way, then you're going to be fine. And employers won't think much of it. If you were surgically fired, meaning you were literally fired, not laid off as part of a group, but you were surgically taken out because of something you did, then that's a different story. And then you're going to need to own it. You're going to need to articulate what happened. You're going to need to talk about what it is that you learned. This is in the job interview. I wouldn't put it on the resume, or I wouldn't put it in the cover letter. And you just need to tighten up your story on that. So Julian, I hope that helps there. I'm going to go into much more detail on some of that stuff in some future videos. So I hope you hang on for those. But I think that should tide you over. And hopefully I hit the mark. The terminology laid off reminds me, it resonates with me that it was a group more so than just you specifically being let go. So I hope that helps. Hey, folks, I know I always forget. We got people shuffling here. I always forget to tell you this at the beginning, but subscribe so you don't miss any of this goodness. I give you new videos every Tuesday. Typically, I give you a new video on Thursday morning as well, and then we do the live office hours at noon Eastern. So make sure you are subscribed so you're getting all my good energy, you're getting all my new stuff, and you can always show up. All right, let's see who's next. All right, Amanda Chamberlain. Oh, Amanda Chamberlain is a first-timer. Can we all give her a first-timer shout-out in the chat? And welcome, Amanda. Great to have you. We love everybody. We love everybody that's here, new-timers, old-timers, and anybody who joins our community is part of the community and gets a big hug. All right. You are a career counselor. Great. Works with students. Wonderful. To explore, plan careers. Great. I'm building an online business to reach more students, but I'm struggling with the marketing piece. As a successful entrepreneur, what's your advice for making headway in this area? I love this. You know what? I want to say this to you guys because you guys don't see all the comments on my YouTube channel, but somebody told me to F off the other day because I'm a successful entrepreneur and don't give enough advice to entrepreneurs. I had to remove the comment from my YouTube channel. But yes, this stuff does happen. I can't believe it. So, yeah, I don't know. He must have been having a bad day, but he said it in a lot of different spots on my YouTube channel. So, Amanda, this is, I'm going to tell you, and actually, I'm really glad that you asked this, because I am quite certain, I would be willing to bet on, that not really any of you know this about what I went through to be here today with you. So there's a couple different facets about marketing, and I know there are lessons in what I'm about to say for everybody here who's job searching, because there are these applied to anybody, whether you're trying to open up your own business or whether you're trying to get a job with an organization. But I started blogging in 2005. Okay, so I had a blog in 2005. The Mile Walk blog existed in 2005. In 2015, now I blogged all the way through, didn't sell a thing, and I was just generating awareness in the market of principles that I used for hirers and for job seekers to better educate themselves. So I was building a brand over a period of time. In 2015, I started to, here's my advice for you, Amanda, and anybody else who is looking to change careers, even if you're looking to get hired by a company or is in a job search. I spent an entire year, actually I spent a lot of time before that, but between 2015 July and November of 2016, I don't know how many months that is, 15, 16 months, doing nothing but writing my blog every week, shooting videos, and all that, good stuff. The videos started in the middle of 2016. And I did nothing but create value into the world for 16 months and a lot longer. And people got to know me. They started to follow me. And they got to trust me in my working knowledge of what it was that I was teaching. That is the best marketing and branding that you will ever have. So for you, it's not like you're just going to turn it on and people are all of a sudden going to find you. You have to put the value out there into the world. You have to cultivate the conversation with them. I know a lot of you are on my email subscription list, so we have dialogue, and I'm always alerting you to shows like this and things that I'm doing, like the resume writing class tomorrow. But there is an awful lot of value that you are going to need to put out into the world, Amanda, for the students and others to get to know you. And then those of them, it will be a very small percentage, will want to buy your coaching, your services, your training programs, and other things that you will create to sustain your business. For those of you that are out there that are looking to change careers, I have a number of career-changing videos that talk about this, that I had to continue, my other business, and still do, in fact. As a matter of fact, right after this session, I'm going to be working with a company on one of their searches. But for all of you that are looking to change careers or increase or improve your personal brand, you can start doing those things and figure out whatever platform is appropriate for you. So Amanda, in your case, you may already have a blog, or you can certainly write on LinkedIn and other places where there's a platform for you to deliver your value to the world. For others that are in like the career-changing mode, you can start writing about your new topic, your new subject, your new industry, your new function, whatever it might be. You can start networking with those people. But Amanda, trust me when I tell you, you're going to have to give an awful lot of value out to the world to gain the credibility. I would highly recommend getting yourself some training as far as how to build the products and deliver them. And then whatever the training teaches you, you're going to have to break down about 90% of it and make it your own, because you're going to recognize what your students or soon to be young professionals are going to identify with. So I've had to constantly change the way that I approach that. And one other thing that you all may or may not know, but 90% of the time I spend every week, that's 7 days a week, that's 90 hours a week. It's not 40 hours a week to run a business like this, but 90% of all those hours are spent figuring out how to communicate better with my community, which is translated into marketing of my knowledge out to them and giving them free value. So I spend 10% of my time building the actual products. So it's something that not a lot of people know, and then the products continually get built and grow over time. And sometimes I deliver them live, and sometimes I deliver them as a training program. But just like a career changer, just like a job seeker, or just like a new business owner or entrepreneur, be ready for all that. But the marketing is really about about the value that you're creating. That's the best marketing ever. You can go and start paying for advertisements and other things like that, but I highly recommend not doing that until you have something that's somewhat established, and you can use the free services. And I would build your entire social platform and market through YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, the whole shebang. But that's what I would do, and I would do it the same way if I was doing this over. I really would. I hope that helps. I mean, I know that was an interesting one because we don't get a lot of those here. Mark Shaw, great to have you. Brian Beckner from Southern Cal. All right, we got a good question here. When wanting to transition from 15 years in one sector, that is the healthcare medical, into a completely unrelated sector to seek new opportunities, how should the resume be worded? So, Brian and everybody, if you are going to make a change, now, Brian, what you didn't share is, it sounds to me, I'm going to make an assumption here, that you are not actually changing your function. So I don't know what your function is, but let's just say you're a salesperson. It's like, because we get a lot of this. We get a lot of healthcare medical salespeople, and you want to go out of healthcare and into financial services. Well, most of the companies that know how to hire are not going to be super overly concerned, because what they will be more focused on is, and I don't know what your function is, but if you are a salesperson, if you're a technologist, if you're whatever, as long as you have the appropriate selling skills, meaning you've got good communication skills, you got good leadership skills, you understand human psychology and sociology, and you're influential, and you know how to sell, whether it's a product or a service or whatever, and what the 11 stages of the sales process are, and all the other good stuff that you need to know, most companies will look for all of that. And then they will teach you how to sell their particular product, and they will continually make analogies for you based on what language you understand. When you are going to revamp your resume, what I always tell people is, and I would check out my career changer videos anyway, even though you might not be changing careers, if it at the top of your resume where you're highlighting your profile, and I don't know if you're in my resume writing class, but we're going to go through all this tomorrow, exactly what that thing should look like, and the highlight section, but the top portion of your resume, which is basically equivalent to the top half of the first page, can highlight and focus more on your, whether it's selling expertise or technology expertise or analysis expertise or whatever it is that you're in. I would not be overly concerned that you couldn't make a pivot from healthcare to financial services, as long as you had all the foundational skills and traits that make a good salesperson, a good salesperson, a good technologist, a good technologist. The fact that you don't understand the nomenclature is far less important to me. Statistically, I've gathered data for more than 15 years on this stuff, your working knowledge of the specific product is not nearly as important as all the other foundational traits and capabilities that I mentioned in my example. And statistically proven over and over again. So the great companies recognize that. The poor companies do not. So you're going to run into some companies that say, well, you don't have financial services or manufacturing experience. That's okay. They're doing you a favor. You don't want to work for them anyway. So I hope that helps. I would definitely check out my Career Changer playlist. Just go and on my YouTube channel, hit the playlists button, and you'll see all the different playlists that are available. Some of them are on the front page, like the resume writing, the cover letter, the interviewing, and those kind of things. But the Career Changers, there's a number of other ones, because YouTube only lets me put so many on the front page. But there's a Career Changers one that's got about 3 or 4 videos in it, and it will help you. But if you're going to be in the session tomorrow, that'd be really good. Okay, hope that helps. Charles Dare, hey, how are you? Charles, a boot camper.
and from Calgary. All right, let's... Hey, by the way, speaking of boot campers, and I know, and we got a few more people here now. Folks, so I love doing this weekly show. It's awesome. I love you all. I love this. I genuinely love this. I get excited when I jump out of bed on Thursdays. I really get excited too about my job search bootcamp, and I don't talk about it a ton in these sessions, but one thing that I want you to know is we do have a live one coming up in October. It starts October 19th. It's all recorded already for you because we've done previous ones. But on October 19th, we're starting a new batch. This one is going to be a little different than all the other ones I've done before. This is bootcamp number 6. But if somebody enrolls now today and you've got basically October, November, and December with me with this program, because you get 12 months of my ongoing monthly coaching, which we do literally once a month, about every 4 weeks, and the October one is next week. And then we go into the boot camp, which is normally 5 sessions. So between October 19th and I think November 1st or 2nd, you go through 5 more sessions with me. And then this go round is the first one where I've added 2 extra sessions, one more in November, which is going to be a resume writing one that is different than the class tomorrow, where I'm going to go through all the nitty gritty and all the nuances of the resume and all the special cases. And then there's more time for the boot campers to go through and give me and show me theirs right there. And then in December, I'm gonna have a session for the boot campers solely on getting ready for the most target-rich time of the year to job search. And the reason I'm making the last boot camp in October this year, where we did it in December and January last year, is because I want to spend a lot of time taking people through the sessions and then teaching them all the nuances of all the stuff that they have to have ready, so as they go out into the best time of the year to search, that they're ready and they've got all that under their belt, and then they're getting all the most advanced tactics right when they need them. So between now and then, you're going to get 10 live sessions with me if you're a boot camper, if you enroll now. So it's just something I wanted to mention. Maybe Kara can throw the link out there. I don't want to do a hard push right now. I want to keep going with your questions. But you can check out the schedule, and it's all recorded. You get all those recorded if you can't make them. But it's going to be pretty special. And when you're in the boot camp, you're in the boot camp for life. So you come back every 3 months. We do this again and again. You can come back, as many times as you want, as you need to. All right. Now, on we go. All right. Mary, 1180A. I love this. All right. Mary says, "Hi, Andy. I got rejected. I rejected a job offer in August. The hiring manager wants to meet me again today for a cup of coffee. Do you have any advice on how to manage the conversation?" Mary, that's great. What you didn't tell me was if you've had a change of heart. So I don't know why you rejected the offer. I don't know if you've had a change of heart. If the hiring manager thinks that he or she is going to talk you into something that you don't want to do, I might not even bother or waste my time if I have no interest. So without knowing your situation or what it is that you want to happen as a result of the meeting, of the cup of coffee meeting, I don't know how to advise you. So if I don't want the job, I would say, if I didn't want the job, I probably wouldn't take the time to go have the meeting. If you have all kinds of time on your hands, which is rare for anybody these days, you can go and have the session, and it's great, and just kind of hear him or her out and see where it goes, and then you can politely mention that you don't have interest in that. But the one thing that I would do, and I really wish I would have known why you rejected the offer. You could have rejected the offer for any number of reasons. It could have been money, could have been location, could have been the amount of travel, could have been the position, could have been whatever. Could have been any of that, and a zillion more. Depending on, if it was something that was fixable, like compensation, and you would have taken it, or they cut your travel down, or they let you work from home 3 days instead of 1, or whatever, then I would just see if they're open to whatever you needed them to accommodate. But without, I'd hate to go through all the speculations and the why and the wherefores without knowing that. But I hope that helps. I don't know. If you want, I mean, we probably got about half the number of people we normally have here. Just head down to the bottom and just see if you want to clarify, and I'll do my best to get to it. All right. Laura McAllister, how are you? Lisa Yates, hey, how you been? Lisa's a boot camper. Hopefully we'll see you here soon. Zombie Review, Rory's a boot camper. Hey, how are you? Steve Smith from DC. I know you, Steve. All right, was laid off, then voluntary took a year off. Good for you. To take care of aged parents. Oh, sorry. I hope they're doing okay. I know it will be asked in interviews. How detrimental is it to prospects? So long as I can explain. Awesome question. It's not detrimental. What I would ask you is this. Hey, Steve, I see that you don't even have to make a big deal out of getting laid off. You could just say, I parted ways with my employer and I took a year off to take care of my parents. And while I did that, what you really want to say is, and while I did that, here's what I did to stay sharp. Taking care of my parents was a full-time job. But on top of that, here's what I did to stay sharp. And Steve, forgive me, I can't remember what your profession is, but whatever it is, if you were reading up on it, internet training on it, online training or whatever, or doing any of that stuff, it's totally understandable. We all are going to hopefully get old, people. So this is going to happen, and as a matter of fact, it's happening a lot now, just simply because of the baby boom, and a lot of the baby boomers are getting into their later years, and I was born right at the edge of that. And, it's so people my age whose parents are in their 70s and 80s and all that good stuff. It happens. It happens. So I think you just explain it and just say, I took the time off to take care of them. But what I would ask you is, what have you been doing in addition to that to stay sharp and keep your skills up or whatever, stay current? And I would proactively volunteer that. And if you have not done a lot, and I don't know what your situation could be, incredibly time consuming to take care of your parents, then I would start getting up to speed on stuff, and I would try to become more knowledgeable. And for any of you who are going to go into this situation, and Kara, will you do me a favor, because this is really a good one that we probably ought to create a video for, like a weekly video for, is if you are about to take time off for whatever reason, so your parents, you want to travel, whatever it is, you got to move because you're a trailing spouse, because your husband or wife got relocated, whatever it is, we should have a little formula, and I can give you what that formula is to set yourself up so that when you do return, you will be able to slide right back in. And I'm not talking about job search tactics. I already gave you all that. What I'm talking about is, what should I be doing during my time off to make sure that it's easy for me to jump back in? And what are you taking the training? Are you reading the books? Are you going to any conferences? Are you writing any articles related to your stuff? Like these are just things that are coming off the top of my head right now. But I bet if I could polish that up, I could probably shoot you a nice tight 10-minute video on what are all the steps that I would do. And Kara, that probably, let's add that to the content calendar because I think that'd be a pretty good one. All right, Steve, I hope that helped. Pamela, how are you? Another from Texas. Chris R. from Germany. Oh, Christoph, how are you? Laura, I'm hoping you can see the streaming. That was 11:01. Sela, how are you? Manisha, how are you? And Mom is here. Hey, Mom, love you. Satish, how are you? You know what? You're going to nail it, my friend. Bruce Riley, how are you? Rory, hey, Kara, is the actually, you know what? Hey, Rory. Rory was asking. So folks, I know a lot of you got into this. We know this. I mean, so I've got a resume writing class tomorrow, and I do want to say this because you're all part of my community, and I'm going to be doing this
a lot. And I'm not going to be doing the resume class a lot. Tomorrow it's free. And Rory, if you're not in it, you're a boot camper, and I'm gonna make sure you get in it if you want to. And I'm gonna be sending all the boot campers a message later today. The new format that I'm gonna be running for my free webinar webcast live sessions, and I'm gonna try to do this every month. I won't do it during the boot camp months because it's just too taxing on my time. And energy. But I'm trying to create a formula that is the most educational for you. So it's not going to be like you get to sign up right up until the deadline and then you walk right into the session. We're going to cut the deadline multiple days before so you have plenty of time in advance. You can plan your calendars, you can block the time off, and I can educate you in advance of the session of things I need you to know, so that when we go into the session, I can go even deeper. So I don't have to explain a lot of things. So this go round, everybody who signed up for the resume writing class, the deadline Monday, on Tuesday, Wednesday, and today, they got an email about the three major sections, what they needed to know about the three most prominent sections. There's more sections, but basically things that I now don't have to explain. And we can go in and now we can take a deeper dive and I can get more tactical and more prescriptive. And that's what I'm going to be doing. And the other thing that I feel, we're going to be doing this for the first time tomorrow, is that you will be more engaged. I will be able to teach you more. You will be more invested in learning, which is what I want. So that's, that's the program for tomorrow. So if you got in it and you've been enjoying the emails, give me a shout in the chat and let me know you've been enjoying the emails, or let me know how you like this format. Give me a, hey, I love it, or hey, I hate it, or Andy, I can't believe I wanted to do it Monday, or whatever. But just tell me in the chat if you like this format. I just think it's much better, especially if I'm going to do it live. I'm not talking about my recorded programs that we offer several times a day. But this is a totally different level of engagement. All right, let's keep rolling. Julian, I got that one. Did I miss that? Kara, I'm on. Hey, Kara, reset me because, man, I don't want to miss. I'm on 1104. I got Julian's. I see Tina. Hey, Tina, from New York City. Just, Kara, do me a favor. Am I in the right spot? I'm getting nervous. I don't want to miss this. Steve Smith, I'm interested in the intervention. Don't need the hard book, but I'm interested in the book. How do I just get the book? I'm assuming you mean the ebook or the audiobook. Steve, can you clarify? And I will tell you how to do that. Hey, Bernie V, who is in the boot camp. How you doing, buddy? Great to talk with you or do our Zoom session a week or so ago. I love that. I hope you are, and I love it. And when you get to the end zone, will you call me so we can do a little end zone dance together? I always like that. All right, Shanti, how are you? Hi there. It's very difficult to write a summary every time for each job title. Is it okay to put as summary qualifications under with the bullet points? Okay, so what Shanti is asking, for those of you who have not seen my my resume template, I have a video out there. It's on the YouTube channel called How to Build the Ultimate Professional Resume. If you watch that, it was easy to find, right? It's probably, and it's in one of the popular uploads. It's got hundreds of thousands of views. I give you the resume template for free. And in the resume template, it's a PDF. It's all the sections and it's the instructions, and then it's just kind of the formatting. One of the things that I recommend is that you always want to give the reviewer a jump out point, so that the reviewer does not have to read all your bullets, does not have to read the whole. Nobody reads the whole resume. They skim it and they look for things that they're looking for. They're literally looking for things they want to see, irrespective of what you have on the paper, so to speak. And I recommend that if you have a major group, if you've been at a particular company and at a title for a sustained period of time, you might want to put a 2-line summary to give context of what it is you did in that position. So for example, if I was a salesperson and I sold services in the central region and I sold hardware, software, and consulting services, and I over the 3 years that I was in that particular position, I sold $20 million. Underneath the title, I would have a little, what would look like a little paragraph, but it's effectively a bullet that talks about your whole thing. And I could just say, I was a salesperson who, or not use the pronoun, but salesperson who sold software, hardware, and consulting services in the central region to Fortune 500 companies, sold $20 million. Boom, that's it. That's my whole summary. That's a bullet. It's a summary style. And I, as the reviewer, if I saw that, I would skip over a lot of the bullets underneath it because you already told me everything I needed to know. Because I don't need to see anything more than that, because that tells me that between 2012 and 2015, when you were the business development manager at company XYZ, that's what you did. And that was my role, my region, my accomplishments, and so on. So I get it, and I don't have to read the rest. And so I skip over the bullets. So that's what I was talking about, Shanti, when I say to have a little summary. Now, remember, your resume should not be longer than 2 pages. And if you're a long-time working professional, especially, the top half of the first page should be a career summary and your highlights. So the bottom of the first page and the top half of the second page, so the bottom half of the first page and the top half of the second page, that should be all your professional experience. So you need to be tight with your responsibilities, your accomplishments, and so forth. So depending on how many titles you're listing, depending on how many jobs you're listing and all that good stuff, you might want to be economical. But you don't have to put the summary if you don't want. So, but believe me, stylistically, it's a great way to waterfall the resume that allows you to be respectful of the reviewer. So I'm a fan of it. And actually, I really hope you're in the session tomorrow because we're going to go through all this. I mean, it's really, really a neat trick to do. So I hope that helps. Yvonne Lee, how are you? From Taiwan. I love it. All right, how to follow up on LinkedIn after successfully connecting to a key person from target companies. Well, Yvonne, that's a great question. How did you actually initiate the session? So did you reach in and say, hey, I saw your profile, I think you're hot stuff, and I'm interested in working at your organization, and the person responded back to you? Then I would respond back to them and I would be pretty candid about why I reached out in the first place. I like building a relationship, and I like, so when if I was job searching and I was initially reaching out to somebody on LinkedIn, and I would say, I'm looking to grow my professional network. I want to connect with you because, and here's what I can offer you. And do some of that. And you can also let them know that I am looking to grow my network because I'm open to new opportunities and all that, and plant the seed. But you haven't done the ask yet. You really are asking them to connect, and you're explaining why you want to connect. When they connect, what you're hoping is that they actually reply to the email. Because if I just accept, I mean, I don't know if you sent a connection request, and then put something in it, or if you sent an in-mail and said, I'd like to connect. But if you sent me an in-mail, then I have to respond, and then you had success. Then what I would do is hope that that person was smart enough to say, hey, we do or don't have opportunities at our organization, but I don't have enough insight here to know exactly what the exchange looked like. And there are about 7 or 8 different responses. And I went through this last night with one of my one-on-one coaching clients. You have to anticipate every response, every potential response. No, thank you. No, yes, I'm happy to connect. No, we do not have opportunities. Yes, I'm happy to connect. Hey, we do have opportunities, and here it is. Yes, I'm happy to connect. I'm not sure if we have opportunities. I will check, and so on. This thing goes on and on and on. What are all the permutations? And then I would give you a different response depending on what it is that they said. So, if you want, head to the bottom and then ask, if you want to give me any additional color, and then I'll answer you. So by the way, I mean, and I know this has happened a number of times here. If I know you guys only have a limited number of characters to use on your question, but if you need to hit me a couple right in a row, I'll find them and just put, you know, 1 of 2 or 1 of 3 or whatever, and I'll be able to see them if you need to give me more. If you need to give me more context, but the more context you give me, the more specific you can be, the more targeted my answer to you will be. All right, let's see how we doing. Celia, how you doing? Got a CIO interview coming up. Am struggling to formulate a great answer for tell us about yourself. The great news for you is I have a video out there with 600,000 or 700,000 views that you can go check out that is on my YouTube channel. I also have a live office hours session dedicated to the tell me about yourself response. And the other thing that you can do is, in addition to watching that video, you can look at my one sentence elevator pitch. That was pretty recent. I rolled one out there. I also did a live office hours on that, and I actually gave you the example that we created for a CIO who works with me one-on-one, and he used it and he got hired. So check those out. Check both of those out. Pamela Grimm, how are you? Interview tomorrow. Don't be nervous. You're going to crush it. You will. And hopefully you got interview intervention. So, Pamela Grimm is asking about what should she do to feel comfortable. And Pamela, I have a video out there for you. It's a recorded video about boosting your job interview confidence. I would just refer to that. Check that out. It will show you exactly how to be more confident. It really will. And the other thing too, I don't know if you have interview intervention, but by the way, folks, if you don't have this, if you don't have it and you want it, obviously to ship the book to you takes some time, a couple of weeks or whatever, but you immediately get the ebook and the audiobook in the system. So Pamela, it's a pretty good thing if you don't already have the book. Just go in the notes and click the interview intervention, the free book page, and pay the $7 shipping and handling, and then you immediately get the ebook and the audiobook. And I would try to run through that. And by the way, folks, I don't know if you know this, but the audiobook for interview intervention is broken up by chapter, so it's not one long audio file. I literally went through and recorded a backdrop to it and a welcome, and then each chapter is sectioned out, and then there is a chapter in there on the 14 most effective interview questions an employer can ask you. I recorded those separately. So you got all 14 questions and my responses and explanations all separately recorded. So you can listen to those in the car. You can listen to them, read it or whatever. I tried to make this as awesome for you as possible. So hey, if you're loving that, if you got interview intervention, yell at me in the comments. Give me a hey, give me a thanks, give me a whatever. Hit me with a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed. And but Pamela, I definitely would watch that Boost Your Job Interview Confidence video. Just go to YouTube and search my page on confidence, and it will pop up. It might be the only video that I have with confidence in the title. Wow, Kara, am I on 11:05 only? Let me know that. Okay, thank you. Okay, this is really nice. Yvonne Lee. Okay, Yvonne Lee mentioned that, Yvonne Lee from Taiwan mentioned that she wanted to know how to follow up on a LinkedIn after successfully connecting to a key person, but what she apparently did was sent a connection request for which they connected but have not responded. So what I would do in this case, so although we can't rewind the clock, I am not a fan of sending connection requests initially to anybody, ever. So I would always send them a note or an in-mail or try to email them directly or whatever. If you do that, then you're going to know if they respond or not. If you send a connection request, you run the risk of this happening. So now that we're in your situation, Yvonne, what I would do is I would send them a message, because you can directly communicate with them now inside LinkedIn, because you're connected, and just say, thank you for accepting my connection request. I wanted to follow up and then go into the reason I reached out to you is, and do your ask at that point. It's a little bit awkward. I don't recommend it going that route. I believe in more permission-based marketing of myself, of my products, of you in your job search, and so on. So, but that's what I would do there. All right. Hey, Kristen, how are you? Music City, man, one of my favorite places on earth. Sushrit, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure how to answer that one. Ian Corzine. Hey, if anybody needs legal help about anything that they're doing, and I know he's got some specialties, but that is one good dude. You should check out Ian Corzine's YouTube channel. It's called Heart of the Matter. It talks a lot about he gives lots of legal lessons. I watch him every week. They come out on Wednesday mornings, I believe. So check him out. He's right there at 11:08. Kristen spent 12 years in marketing, the last 8 in HR training and technology. Want to get back to marketing. Lots of transferable skills, but HR screeners don't get it. Interviews get bogged down. Advice. Okay. So it sounds like, Kristen, I'm gonna fill in some blanks here. So Kristen did not ask the question, how do I put this on my resume and all that stuff? Because if she had asked that question, I would talk about the career summary, the career highlights, and pulling forward the stuff that she or you want to accentuate and you want the reviewer to see first. So if she's got 12 years in marketing and 8 in HR, she can pull all her marketing accolades up top and kind of downplay some of the other stuff. Okay. But it appears that she is getting interviews because she's saying, I have lots of transferable skills, which we know. Actually, they're not even transferable. You actually have them. But HR screeners don't get it, and interviewers get bogged down. So what I would do if I was in your situation is, when you get into the screen, and I would actually, let me use an analogy from my situation. When I want to share something with the world and I want you to invest in it, a boot camp, the interview intervention program, or whatever it is, I have to anticipate what your objections are going to be and then answer them in advance so that I know what you're thinking. You might be thinking this. I get this question a lot. Here it is. So I would certainly up front say, hey, I've been interviewing and I know some people that I speak with, they have questions like this. So I want to share this. And, I've split my career in, it's kind of 2 halves. I really want to get back to marketing. And based on what it is you're looking for, and I'm assuming you have the job description or you have some kind of functional understanding of what it is they're looking for, I would like to share with you what in my background maps up to what it is that you need. And it's like almost ask them, or ask the question on their behalf to yourself, and then go in and connect the dots for them. So if they're getting bogged down, the only reason that they're getting bogged down is that they don't think that you can do what it is that they need you to do. So if you go in with a better understanding of specifically what they want, and what success looks like in a relatively short and midterm period, then I would start filling in how you would do that.
The other thing, and I don't know if you saw this, and I've sprinkled this one all over the place. I mean, what I'm about to say is buried in a million different million different spots in a number of different videos. But I always say, when you're in an interview, if you can shift the discussion to their future as opposed to your past, that will get them thinking more about you being part of the team, how exactly you will accomplish what it is they need you to accomplish, and what you've been doing for the last 12 years is not going to be nearly as important as what you're going to be doing for them tomorrow. So my advice would be, in addition to kind of proactively opening it up with, hey, I'm sure you have questions about this, let me share. I would also, as soon as possible, try to get them to answer that one question that I love you always ask in every interview is, if I was to come work here, or anybody, whoever is going to come work here, what specifically does success look like in 12 months? Specifically, what will this person have done in 12 months that you would consider it a raging success, or that the person was successful in whatever? Get them to tell you that, and then spend your time trying to explain to them how you would get there and how you would do that. So if you're getting bogged down up front, there's nothing easier than when somebody is bogged down for you to shift the discussion. That's the easiest time, when somebody is bogged down or doesn't understand or keeps peppering to say, hey, maybe we could look at this a different way. What is it that you need me to do exactly, and what would success look like? And perhaps I can show you how I would do that. And that might get you more comfortable with what I can do. So I definitely encourage executives and very senior people to do that. The more time you spend in the future, the better the interview goes. The more time you spend in the past, the worse the interview goes. And if they're getting bogged down in your past, and more specifically your recent past, then you're going to have a hard time. So I would try to shift the discussion to the future. And Kristen, I would watch the video I have out there on executive interviews, the 12-step one, the 12 steps to win the executive interviews. I released it maybe a month ago or so, but I would check that one out, and that's what I would do. It really, I mean, and I would also probably look at the career changer ones as well, even though you're going back to something. And as a matter of fact, somebody else asked this a long time ago. Earlier in the year, they said, how do I get back to a profession that I love? I actually have clipped out the video as a Q&A video. I just haven't released it yet, but that'll be coming soon too. So I hope that helped. Tina, how are you? Tina says, I went to the Fashion Institute of Technology. That's cool. And graduated with a degree in marketing. Awesome. I worked in New York City for 10 years in product development, sourcing, and eventually analytics. I think you probably have another one, but Edward snuck in. I've been in analytics for 4 years now. However, I have only worked in fashion and luxury. I would now like to transition over to healthcare, finance, or consumer products. However, in my job search, I am only getting responses from fashion companies. Any suggestions on making the transition? Yes, Tina. And anybody who wants to cross over like that, that's having any kind of struggles, I'm going to tell you, you got to tap your network. The most effective way to make the change to something that you have not done or have not been in yet, so whether it's I want to change from being a marketer to a seller, I want to change from fashion to, whatever, consumer products or whatever, I would think I would dial them up based on what is most closely aligned, which is consumer products. So if it was me, I would spend all of my time focusing on the consumer products goods, which is going just fine right now. You have one of the best markets ever for consumable goods. You've got a lot of experience that is related in fashion and luxury. So that would be my key. And then in the consumer products companies, what I would do is I would target the companies. So it appears as though which companies are consumer products, and you can identify those relatively easily. And then I would start mapping my network to how can I get somebody to introduce me to that company or somebody at that company or some which way. But I would leverage my network. And the other thing that I would do is I would definitely watch my live office hours on why your job search is taking so long.
that will help you better optimize how you're spending your time and give you some tactics that I would employ on how to do that. And then I do have a video out there on business networking, how to build professional relationships, and I would take a look at that as well. If you, and Tina, I don't think you're in my boot camp, but in the boot camp, we also go into kind of network mapping and some of these other things at a lower level. And that's something you certainly can consider. But you know, it can be tough. But honestly, you are pretty well positioned. So I would be very positive on the direction that you want to take. And I'm just wondering if maybe the tactics you're using to try to get into those industries or into those companies within those industries is not as effective as it can be. So I hope that helps. Check out those videos about why your job search is taking so long and the business networking one. I've got other ones out there on the job searching tactics that will also help you, not as deep as obviously as the boot camp will, but that's a paid program. But I hope that helps. All right. Thomas, great that you got the book. Pansy, I think this is a question. I'm not sure. Yeah, skills are transferable for sure. Todd Lawrence, this looks like a good one. I have a non-compete, but after delays getting a new position, I have an interview at a competing company. I have heard in some states these are difficult to enforce. Should I decline the interview? No, you should not. Todd, non-competes obviously you want to respect them and you want to be careful. They are incredibly difficult to enforce. Exceptions can be made. Companies can agree. I have had situations, for example, and I don't know what industry you are in. Some are real sticklers, like real sticklers. Others are a little bit more relaxed. Some, I think a lot of you know this, but if you don't, I have an executive search firm, Mile Walk. We've placed like 600 people over the last decade and a half in roles with companies, and we have a lot of individuals who have non-competes that we recruited, that we either recruited them out or they were already out and like you and looking, and then they were moving into another organization that was theoretically a competitor. Sometimes what can happen is there are different either divisions that really don't apply and you aren't working in the same area, or you aren't targeting the same customers, or you cannot specifically target the same customers that you worked at in their industry, or at their company. There's a number of different variations and accommodations that can be made that many companies will understand. Now, I don't know how long your search has been going, and you didn't mention how long the non-compete is for. So we've had other situations where sometimes the non-compete was 6 months, sometimes it was a year, sometimes it was 2. I don't see a lot that are beyond that. The very, very senior can be 5, whatever. But in your case, to answer your specific question, I would not decline the interview. What I would do is I would mention that I do have this non-compete. I want to share that with you right up front. They may ask to see it, in which case you should share it, but I would definitely go. And if you are in a situation, where you've had delays in getting a new position, and I don't know how long it's been, I would be taking swings at the plate. I really would. Just be careful, with that. And, without knowing, like the financial services industry and the capital markets industry is incredibly mean about this stuff. But a lot of others, they're not as rough. So I hope that helps. Rimple, how you doing? Wait, it looks like this is a question. All right, Rimple, I've been in Canada for 6 years. For the first 3 years, I did survival jobs, which has nothing to do with the profession I'm in now. This makes my resume look very small. So how should I work on this? I don't know that I would do anything. I mean, you had 3 years where you did survival jobs, and you have 6 years where you've done something else. I'm assuming. I would lay it out like you have it. I would lay it out like you have it. All right, when applying for jobs, C star 3E. Okay, this is a great one. And by the way, I would love your I'm gonna answer the question, and then I have a question for you all, and I would love some feedback in the chat. All right, Sistar 3E. When applying to jobs posted by the org, I reach out to the recruiter found through LinkedIn and so on. But what about jobs posted by headhunters? Is it worth trying to find someone there to talk to? So, first off, headhunters that post jobs, in my opinion, I know I'm going to sound like a schmuck here, but it's a second-class firm. Headhunters should not be posting jobs and spending a lot of time with inflow candidates. Headhunters get paid to go out and surgically find people in an active fashion by reaching out to them, building a relationship, seeing if they're a fit, and trying to get the company who's paying their bill, somebody who's employed and happy and so on. That doesn't mean we haven't, as Mile Walk, my search firm, that doesn't mean we haven't found people who are unemployed that we loved and so on, or people that have sent me emails. Now, if what I would do, if the headhunter posted it, then what I would do is I would apply, see if there was any response. If there wasn't a response, I'd go through the same motions I would go through as if it was a regular old company. I'd wait 7 days. I'd try to follow up. I'd try to find somebody's email in the firm. I would send them an email. It's totally okay. Remember, headhunters and third-party recruiters find people for jobs. I always laugh when I see these firms posting these jobs. It's interesting. I don't know. But yes, I would go ahead and I would try to do that. And you never know, you might get a hit. Don't be surprised if they don't respond to you. And I did a little quick clip that came out, I don't know, a month ago or so about why recruiters don't call you back. You might want to check that out. It's like 2 minutes. So I hope that helps. Shanti, I'm not sure what I've done that, just putting the year, but recruiters just focusing on that and asking exact month and turning us down. Why? Okay, wait, you got a couple questions here. So for some of you, and Shanti's question about, and I'm not sure back to where you were, where I answered this, seems like 1,000 questions ago, but the question seems to be around on the resume, if you just put the year and not the month. If you've been working for a long time, just putting the year is totally okay. If a recruiter is going to get super hung up on the month and the date and the hour and whatever, I would answer it. And on applications, they might want you to put those in irrespective of how many years you've been working. I don't know why they're turning you down. It could be for a million reasons. Do employers do a check on if you're laid off or not? In an employment check, what typically happens is they run your employment background check based on your Social Security. Any company that has paid you is going to come up on that list. Okay? They had your Social Security number if you're in the US or whatever. You will come up. Okay? So the rationale for why you are no longer there is not going to come up, most likely. So what happens is somebody at the organization who ran the check, meaning the company that wants to hire you, will start calling these companies or verifying, didn't you, and so forth. Were you there, were you not, or whatever. Those companies, at least in the US, are not allowed to share any information about you. Legally, they're not. So if one of your employers kind of undercuts you they typically don't do that because they're inviting lawsuits from you. So normally that stuff does not come up, and the company representative who is responding to the background check, a live call or whatever, cannot let that information out. It's kind of name, rank, and serial number kind of thing. Yes, she worked here from 2012 to 2015 and so on. That's really about it. All right. How you guys doing? 12:10. Hey, I got 5 more minutes. If you are loving this, give me the thumbs up. Make sure tomorrow, I'm dead serious about this. I open this up more, but we still don't have enough seats. This is a 17-page bonus booklet that all the attendees are going to get for this resume writing class. You will love this thing. I mean, I slaved over this thing. There's instructions, there's topics, there's samples, there's everything is in here. This thing practically writes your resume for you. So please make every effort if you are genuinely interested to show up early. The waiting room opens at 10 Central, 11 Eastern, and the session starts at 11 Central, 12 Eastern. So make sure you are there. All right, Pansy. I am transitioning from healthcare clinician to healthcare business, and HR is not connect my skills. So I'm excited to hear you mention this. Okay, I get it. You know, Pansy and anybody else that is considering a change, please check out my Career Changer playlist. There's like 3 or 4 videos in there. I've even got some articles on my blog. You can head to the Mile Walk website or go to andrewlacivita.com. There's articles in there about career changing and how I made career changes and all kinds of good stuff. So I got videos, podcasts, articles, and so on. Okay. One more. Let me get out Mary Jo. My references, Mary Jo, how are you? Boot camper. My references have been called by a recruiter for a job I'm up for. Will the offer come from her? Is she who I negotiate with? So this is a great question. So Mary Jo is in the late stages of an interviewing process and they are doing reference checks. Whether the recruiter, your third party, and I know it's a third party recruiter, is doing them, or the company is doing them, either which way, those references are getting checked. They're all going to come back glowingly or positive because you are you. And then what will happen is you should be communicating with the recruiter, if this was proper, you should be communicating with the recruiter who should be interacting and serving as an intermediary between you and the organization, or in your case, in the institution. So that's who I would be dealing with for that. And so, and if you have any issues, just call me. Well, you can call me. Don't everybody call me, but Mary Jo can call me because she's in the boot camp. All right. Let me see. I need to head to a meeting, people. But listen, I'm back next Thursday. For those of you in the resume class, I am really looking forward to it tomorrow. Block out a couple hours on your calendar because we're really going to go at this. And if you haven't got the Interview Intervention book, grab that. And if you want to see the Job Search Masterclass, that's in the description. Some of the things that I mentioned can be found in that. That's a video series, 3 parts. If you loved it, click the thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed. And until next week, have a great one. And everybody, have a great weekend. We'll see you.